Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 5. Fire. Chapter 7. Queen of the Butterflies. Finally, Jack Thunder and his crew had reached the end of the tunnel. This was definitely the place. Stormbringer and the other fragments of Anima lit up the entire room with their fierce magical glow. Looking around, Jack Thunder couldn't see much. The room was shaped in a perfect cube, save for the ceiling high above. The walls were plain and uniform. In the center of the room was an unknown figure crumpled on the floor. As he stepped forward, he heard a clinking noise under his feet. Looking down, he saw a thin iron chain snaking its way loosely across the floor. Many more extended like tree roots out from the figure, keeping it in place. He froze, expecting the figure to jump at him. When it didn't, he sighed in relief. Yuki had to be around here somewhere. Jack Thunder, Frosty, Buckthorn, Shadowpaws, Snotter, and Kirami spread out across the room, taking care not to step on the chains. The last thing they wanted was to awaken the prisoner in the center of the room. They held their fragments to the wall, scanning them for any sign of the fiery sword. Kirami scanned the walls, looking for any sort of button or switch that might reveal where Yuki would be. She grunted to herself. This would be a lot easier if the light coming from the anima fragments wasn't this dim red color. She could hardly see a thing in this gloom. After some time, the kitsune found a stone in the walls that had a slightly darker color than the rest of them. Could it be? She placed her paw on the stone and pushed it. To her surprise, it receded into the wall. A sudden scraping noise made her jump and turn her gaze upward. The stone just above the one she'd pressed moved out of the way to reveal a small gap in the wall, one with a strong orange glow emerging from it. With a small hop, Kirami crawled into the narrow space. She gaped as she saw the source of the orange glow more clearly. A handle covered in velvet red cloth sat before her, the handle of a katana. She reached in and grabbed it with some effort. Slipping out of the gap, she got a chance to look at the sword she'd pulled out. Red and orange flames flickered around the tip, illuminating the katana's golden blade. All of a sudden, it began to glow white. So did the fragments of anima. The light threatened to blind them as it filled the whole room. Altaria wasn't wrong. Yuki had been down here all this time. All of a sudden, the six of them could hear the rattling of chains. They whipped around to face the source of the noise. The figure that had once been lying on the floor was now standing up straight. Its eyes, no, her eyes, stared straight in Kirami's direction. That's when Kirami realized. Titania? All those years in the dungeon had not been kind to the former queen of the butterflies. Thin, haggard, and tangled in chains, Titania looked just like any other common thief. Kirami wouldn't have realized she was royalty if she didn't know better. Titania glowered at her with sickly blue eyes before lunging at her. The iron chain snapped taut. Titania fell forward, screeching and struggling. Golden sparks flickered around her hands as she tried to use her magic. To no avail, the chains kept her firmly under wraps. Kirami sighed in relief. Titania was no threat to them. Or at least that's what she thought. All of a sudden, tiny black blobs began to rise from Titania's body. Slithering around the chains, they coated the iron in a slick black film. Kirami and the others stared in horror as the cuff around Titania's left arm came loose and slipped off. With her left hand now free, Titania's arm swarmed with black butterflies. All the black blobs fell to the floor and began circling around her. They soon took form. More butterflies made from null magic exploded from the ground, swarming the heroes. Jack Thunder was the first to act. A bolt of green lightning blasted from Stormbringer's blades, scattering the cloud of butterflies. Still they swarmed, trying to engulf Kirami and the others. Kirami snorted. There was no way she was going to fall to a bunch of butterflies. Yuki blazed with new life as the kitsune slashed her way through the cloud. She could hear small screeches as the foul insects fell to the ground, their wings alight. She felt something bump into her. Turning around, Kirami noticed Snotter behind her. The fairy snail was also slashing at the butterflies, splitting some in half. Here, this should help you. Terra flashed green, and Kirami felt renewed. As the two slashed their way through the swarm, the others were doing their part. Blasts of chilling frost, bright lightning bolts, laughing gas, and siren songs filled the room as everyone slowly wore the swarm down. With every second, though, Titania came closer to slipping her bonds. Both of her hands had come loose and were summoning more of those cursed insects. Kirami huffed and puffed. They were giving it everything they had, but would it be enough to outlast Titania? As soon as she had that thought, Titania slipped the last of her bonds. Now completely free, the former queen charged at the kitsune. Kirami just managed to jump out of the way in time for Titania to slip in a puddle of Wendigo substance and crash to the floor behind her. Undeterred, Titania whipped around and summoned another swarm. All of a sudden, a blast of fire struck Titania out of nowhere. She shrieked as it burned her. Looking up, Kirami saw two lava dragon whelps circling the air above them. Grimhide's young had come for them. And even better, she knew that fire was effective against Titania. She took a deep breath and concentrated hard. The flame at the tip of Yuki grew bigger and bigger until it enveloped the sword's blade. In seconds, she engulfed the whole room in flames. She held the others close to her, shielding them from the fire. Through the blaze, Kirami could see Titania shriveling up like a leaf in the sun. Her butterflies shrieked and popped like corn, splattering her face in black ink. Eventually, the flames died down. Kirami huffed and puffed as she got her sight back. Titania had collapsed to the ground once again, completely spent. The butterflies were reduced to black drips covering the floor. Their tiny white eyes stared up at her as they slithered back into the recesses of the walls.